Good morning, Plum here, playing World of Tanks, and I'm in the garage and I'm looking at a Sherman. Why am I looking at a Sherman? Because obviously the thumbnail's giving it away already. I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the new movie Fury, which came out this week in the UK. I went and saw it on the first day with a good buddy of mine, and overall, first impression of that film was good. It was a good war film. Do not hesitate to go and see it if you have any interest in war films, and particularly if you like tanks, as I've become rather fond of these machines over the last couple of years playing this game. Obviously it's a movie you've just got to go out and see. So it's directed by David Ayer and stars Brad Pitt. He plays War Daddy, and he is the Sarge in charge of Fury, which is one of these machines that you can see on the screen now, and it's set right at the end of World War II in April 1945, and they are in Germany pushing to finally get to Berlin and kill Hitler. The crew is a battle-hardened crew, except for their little gunner, the chap that sits behind that machine gun port just there on the tank. He's dead right at the very start of the film. You don't even see him die, he's just dead. And they're going back to base, and they're going to get given a new recruit, poor guy, called Norman. And really the story is told through his eyes. He's going to be our eyes and ears for the next 2 hours, which is the running time of the film. Doesn't feel too long. They could have trimmed a bit out of the middle, but I'll get to that. It's a very realistic looking film, I've got to say. It looks fantastic. They really muted the colours down. It feels fantastic. Sound effects are tremendous. It's got a really gritty, earthy feel about it. You know, war is ugly, war is dirty, and it really comes across in the movie that way. Only the officers that we roll into camp have got nice shiny new uniforms on. Everyone else just looks like they've been dragged through a hedge. So they nail the atmosphere of the time really nicely. You don't doubt it for a second. Moving on, it has got some really lovely cinematography in that film. There are some lovely shots, particularly the opening shot. I was taken aback by the opening shot. It's a nice surprise when you sit down and the film starts and instantly you think, wow, that looks amazing. It's one of those shots where you think it's something and then it turns out not to be what you think it is at all, and then you're really surprised. And I was quite taken aback by how good that opening shot was, and it set me up to enjoy the rest of the film. I won't go into detail what that opening shot is. The credits just finish and it says Fury on the screen, and then you get your establishing shot, and you think it's one thing and it's not, and it's absolutely stunning. I'm not sure how much CGI was involved in that shot. It looks, for all intents and purposes, like it's just a genuine beautiful bit of filmmaking. They just shot what they had, and it's just mind-bogglingly gorgeous. It's only the first 10 seconds of the film and I'm already on board. So it's got a typical 3-act structure of the film, which brings me to the sort of pacing of the film. Really, the first act is really good. It establishes the characters really quickly, really well, and you get right into the tank, and it's just how it's all going to be for the rest of the film. But then it gets to the middle act of the film and it just kind of stalls a bit in the middle. Everything stops, there's no fighting as such, and they sit down with these German ladies for a meal, and it feels a bit weird, to be honest. They could certainly, I can understand why it's in the film. It does have a part to do with the story and the character of Norman in showing him the brutalities of war and so forth, but it just felt a little bit too long. They could have probably trimmed it in half, actually, that piece of the movie, because it really does make you fidget in your seat if you're like me. And then it gets into the final act, and the final act is also really exciting. It's pretty much bookended. The first act, quite a bit of action, then it stalls in the middle and you get into the last act and there's a lot of action. So don't leave. Don't leave in the middle of the film. It's got something to do with the film, with the storytelling, but I really honestly think they could have done without it, to be honest. It didn't need to be in there at all. And then they finally get to meet a Tiger tank in the movie, and as far as I'm aware, having read a few articles about the film, the director speaking, This is the first time in a feature film that we've ever seen a genuine tiger tank. It's the one from Bovington Museum here in the UK. It's the last remaining working genuine tiger tank in the world, and it's the first time on a feature film that a Sherman has fought a tiger tank, and that is a really terrific battle they have with that tiger tank. In fact, I think it's too short. They should have stretched that battle out a bit due to the historical significance of it and the fact they had it to use. They could have trimmed a bit off the end fight and had more with the tiger tank, because it is utterly glorious. Let me bring it up on the screen. Luckily on this game now, the tiger tank is in HD, so it looks utterly fantastic. When they meet this thing, it just puts a smile on your face. It's brutal, but it's 4 Shermans versus this tiger tank, and it lives up to its reputation. Trust me, the tiger tank, utterly amazing. And like I say, it's over all too quickly, unfortunately. Then I move into the final act of the film, the final battle, which I think both my friend and I we both found a little disappointing, the end fight. It's not as ramped up as some of the earlier fights, and it's also got a few problems with logic involved in that fight. I might do a little spoilers review of the film as well, because I wouldn't mind discussing my problems with the end of the film and what happens. It's not very logical, but it's still very exciting. It is very gripping. By that point in the film, you do care about the characters. You're in the tank. You want them to all, get through this thing, and it's pretty much a case of like the film 300. It's just a few guys versus a lot of Germans, and how they stand up to them. It is gripping. It is exciting, but the battles were so good when they were in formation with other tanks, and fighting the tiger tank was so awesome. I could watch the tiger tank battle over and over again. It's really, really awesome. The ending, it does have a couple of problems, but the performances from all the actors are terrific. Really, really good. Even Shia LaBeouf, not quite sure how you pronounce his surname, heard it enough times, but I'm not sure. I really liked his character in the film. He's called Bible. They've all got their war names. War Daddy for Brad Pitt, Bible for his character, Norm is Machine, Gordo and Kunas are the guys in the tank, and they all do a really good job actually. I'm really pleased with their camaraderie. I mean, they are dicks basically. Several times in the film you can't believe the behaviour of them. They've been fighting for so long, I think they forgot how to be decent human beings. Particularly Kunas's character, he is an absolute ass beyond words. That man, I don't know if you dislike him or not. You don't like him, but he's got a role to play, and he's kind of the blunt weapon they use to kind of make Norman feel really uncomfortable in that tank to start with. And by the end they have all bonded, and they are a crew, which is a little bit unusual. I'm probably save that for the spoiler video, as the length of the film is actually very, very short in real time. I believe it only takes place over 36 hours or something. And what happens in that 36 hours is quite astonishing to Norman's character. So yeah, overall the film is excellent. I'd happily buy that when it comes out and get a copy of it. It's got some really good performances in it. Brad Pitt is excellent. He really does nail his role as the beleaguered sergeant who's promised to keep his crew alive to the end of the war, and he does do a damn fine job doing just that. So in conclusion, Fury, it's a great film. It's quite hard to watch some of it. There are some really brutal depictions of war. There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of limbs being blown off and faces being blown off, and gratuitous scenes of violence in the background, and on some of the sound stages they worked on, there's bodies everywhere, and not just bodies, but really beaten up, brutalized bodies that are just barely recognizable as people anymore. So if you're a bit squeamish, it may not be the movie for you, but as far as tank films go, it's up there. It's up there. It really is really, really good. So that's my thoughts on Fury. Well worth going to the cinema to see it. The sound effects are tremendous when they're fighting in the tank and firing shells and being hit with bounces and so forth. The sound of HE shots flying past the turret, it really makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. So if only for the fighting in the film, it's worth going to see it at your cinema. So hope you enjoy the film. Gets my plums thumbs up completely, 100%. I hope you enjoy it. Keep your heads down, drink plenty of water, and I will definitely play tanks again soon. Take care. Bye bye.